What's up, guys? This is Graham here, and I'm going to review Castle Crashers, which, in case you didn't notice, after actually 2 years after the Xbox 360 version was released, the PSN version was released last week, and so yeah, I'll get right into it. Castle Crashers starts out basically, it's a ridiculous storyline to get down to it. Doesn't really make any sense, but it's there and it's has its funny moments. You're basically just trying to get four different princesses, and along the way you kill a lot of people. And yeah, so pretty basic stuff. The story isn't like you're not gonna buy the game for it or anything. Um, and then the presentation of the game though is really strong. It's Behemoth, who's the developer, has an artist named Dan Paladin who does all their work for him, all their designs and animations, and he is amazing. It has a really unique look. It's pretty cartoony, but the backgrounds are always moving and are dynamic, and all the animations look awesome. Like whenever you shoot fire out and all this other stuff, it just looks really good, and doesn't really have any glitches from what I could have told. And the music gets a little repetitive for my taste, but maybe that's just because the last downloadable beat 'em up I played was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and that game had phenomenal music. And yeah, this one not so much, pretty repetitive, but I guess it gets the job done. I'm not gonna like plug in my speakers though, just so I can listen to it. Yeah, so the presentation overall is fairly strong, mainly just because of the handcrafted style. All the menus work really good, they're really intuitive, and they'll get you to where you want to really fast. It's easy to invite your friends. So yeah, it's a good menu system. And also, the world map is like kind of like Super Mario World in a way, where you just like move along. I know it's been done a lot now, but it's always a nice touch. Yeah, so, yeah, presentation is good, and now I'm gonna go on to the next part, which is the gameplay, which is probably the weakest part, because the gameplay is basically a side-scrolling beat 'em up, which there's not much to that, to be honest. There's square to do a light attack, triangle to do a heavy attack, and there is a lot of variation in the combos, I suppose, so there's enough depth in there to keep you interested, till the end of the story. But then they also have magic, which really adds a new dynamic to it. And each character, and I'll get to that later, has their own magic attacks. So each time you play with a different character, it really feels like you're playing with a uh, really different style. Which I never felt in Scott Pilgrim, which was one of the biggest problems with that game. Alright, so talked about the gameplay, which is pretty damn boring, to be honest, unless you're with friends, of course. The bosses are really tedious. That's another thing that I should have mentioned, is the last Behemoth game I played was Alien Hominid for the PS2, like 5 years ago. My brother picked that up, and we played the shit out of it, and that was one of my favorite games for the PS2. And it was extremely difficult also, but the boss fights were a lot more satisfying than in Castle Crashers. And also, I liked Alien Hominid better than Castle Crashers. Just gonna throw that out there. Yeah, so now I'm going to get to what is by far the best part of the game, is the replayability. So basically, you start out with four different characters, and after you beat the game with one of those characters, you'll unlock another character, and if you beat the game with that character that you just unlocked, you'll unlock another one. So basically, you will have to beat the game a ridiculous amount of times to unlock all the characters. And so yeah, that's really fun. In each character, I've probably unlocked I probably have like 9 right now, maybe 10. I would just beat the game last night, so I decided I'd do a review. And so yeah, the replayability is basically why you want to get this game, just because there's so many damn characters you can unlock. You'll be playing for a really long time trying to get them all, and it's well worth its $15 price tag. And it has a kick-ass online mode to boot, where you can basically either play volleyball, which is kind of disappointing, gotta be honest, but it's still fun if you have friends. Slime Volleyball is still the all-time volleyball video game champ. And it has arena mode where it's like versus, and I believe you can do teams. Not sure exactly. So yeah, versus mode is pretty fun. There's all the different game modes within inside versus mode where like only archers, straight up deathmatch, and then there's other stuff. I shouldn't call it deathmatch, but it's just first to die. Whoever survives the longest wins. And yeah, so the online is really good. It's just a lot of people have been complaining that they haven't been able to connect, which I can vouch for that, because I invited my friend and he got in first thing, so that worked fine, inviting my friend. But then the game was really laggy, and then after the next day I got on and I was trying to just do some quick matches like volleyball, and it wasn't working for me. It just said there was no games available, which I highly doubt that, because I know there was at least one guy who was hosting a volleyball match, so yeah, they'll probably iron that out though. It's not like you shouldn't factor that into your purchase of the game or anything. Yeah, so replayability, awesome. This game is definitely worth $15, especially if you have friends who will play it with you, whether it be at your house or online. Yeah, so definitely encourage your friends to buy it. And the last thing I want to talk about is, because I know there's a lot of people who like trophies, so the trophies in this game are really hard to get, not gonna lie. I'm gonna check right now how many I have. You will probably be able to get them all fairly quickly, but there's still some of them are pretty damn difficult. Like beating it on insane mode, which is what you unlock after you beat the game on normal mode. I've heard that's ridiculously hard, but you know, so yeah, it's really fun. Trophies, don't buy this game if you like only are buying it to get 100% on the trophies. But so yeah, overall Castle Crashers is a great game to be played with friends or by yourself for that matter, just to unlock all the characters, and I highly recommend picking it up. If I were to assign a score to it, I don't know, because scores seem very arbitrary, and I don't know, I just never really understand the point of them, but at least I would definitely have to give it a 9. It's just because of all the content that you can unlock and how long you're going to be playing it for. Basically, so the only downsides of it really are it can get kind of tedious and repetitive, and some of the enemy types really, really piss you off. Not as much as Scott Pilgrim though, because in Scott Pilgrim, when they punched you, you kind of just felt like you couldn't do anything about it, but Castle Crashers, it's just like you keep getting shot as soon as you get up, but eventually you realize you can just block them. And yeah, so great game. The advantages of the positives of this game far outweigh the negatives. That's what I'm trying to say here. So yeah, I hope you found this review helpful. If you want me to do more reviews or just offer your constructive criticism, just comment please. And yeah, thanks guys. Later.